in my circle? Who the one who be the snakes? Who gon' fold up under pressure? Who gon' understand the stakes? Who gon' wait to get their food to try to take from off my plate? Who the love? Who gon' understand I'm hurt? Who gon' love me unconditionally and try and make it work? Who gon' party once I'm gone and shed a tear once I'm in dirt? I ain't asking for too much, I'm trying to understand my worth.
Welcome to the next episode of Give Me My Crown podcast.
Give Me My Crown podcast. You already know.
And we back at y'all with another episode of the Give Me My Crown podcast. And as we told y'all, we'll be back with a recap of the 2025 NFL draft.
Yes. It was a weird draft though, Tonyo.
Yeah, it was all around weird. It was because we went through, what did we go on live the other night? We went through what, first 12 picks?
12 to 15, something like that.
We went through the first couple of picks. So, obviously, we know who the number one overall pick was, Cam Ward. That was hands down. He was hands down, I think, in the draft, the best overall player. Plus, for the team that had number one, they needed a quarterback. So obviously, we knew he was going there. Did you see though? They got offered from the Giants. The Giants apparently offered them a couple of picks for their number one pick.
I saw that. I think, to me, we don't know how this is going to play out, but Cam Ward was the biggest, but he's the least amount of risk for any team.
Yeah. Now,
the most upside.
Now, question, do you think if the Giants would have made that trade, do you think they would have won Cam Ward, or do you think they would have got Travis Hunter?
They would have won Cam Ward.
You think they still would have won Cam Ward?
I don't know, because think about it, man. They got Russell Wilson and they got Jameis Winston, right?
Yep. And they got Jackson Dart.
And they got Jackson Dart later.
That's what I'm saying. They got him late. So if they would have traded up, I guess they could have potentially, for the number one pick, they could have potentially got Travis Hunter and then still got Jackson Dart if that's who they wanted. But I couldn't see them passing up on Cam Ward if they needed a quarterback. But we've seen how this draft went, so a lot of teams passed up on good players for whatever reason. But
we might as well jump into that right now. I mean, that's the biggest story of this draft.
So obviously, Cam Ward, or obviously Cam Ward going before Shador, I get that. Cam Ward, I think, is a better overall quarterback. But after that, I think Shador was the second best quarterback in this draft.
Honestly, man, I don't know if you've seen the combine footage of the quarterback the Saints took. Have you seen those videos?
It was horrible.
So how do you justify taking him over Shador?
It was horrible. It's the same way when you look, because even with the Giants, they took Jackson Dart over him, and it's like they're comparing him to Josh Allen, which no, I'm talking about Jackson Dart.
I know
him to Jackson.
That's what I'm saying,
and
that's not a valid comparison.
The only comparison I see with that is he plays reckless, because like Josh Allen. Josh Allen is a very reckless player. He will go head first and say, "Bump it, I'm taking the hit." And watching Jackson Dart in college, he did a lot of that, which is very dangerous for your franchise quarterback.
Does he have a Josh Allen build?
No, he's smaller than Josh Allen. I think
my point exactly.
I think he's probably faster than Josh Allen, but I don't think his arm is as strong as Josh Allen. And he got the receivers around him. But the question is, because I don't think he's starting first, because he's not starting over Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. You don't bring both of them guys in just to start a rookie.
Correct.
I think it is possible, since they did get Jackson Dart. I think they may end up trading Jameis Winston, because I think they could get they could get something at least decent for him.
I'd rather keep Jameis and let Russell go.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I said I would rather do that, right?
Oh yeah.
We know Jameis, he don't mind throwing the ball. Russell will hold that ball sometimes.
That's true, but I guess their next issue would be, who do you want your quarterback to learn? Who do you want your rookie quarterback to learn from? Or who would you rather him learn from? Jameis Winston or Russell Wilson? Because they both have their pros and cons. Like you just said, Russell Wilson holds the ball. Jameis Winston, he might throw 10 picks a game, but he also might give you 600 yards.
There you go. I mean, honestly, I'd rather have Jameis, man. Like, what has besides Seattle? He had a great run, but he had a great defense, great run game. Russell's never been a 300-yard thrower like consistently in a season.
No, that's true, but he's also always been surrounded with a decent offensive core and a decent defense. So he's never really had to do it, because if you look at when he played in Seattle had one of the top defenses in the league for a long time while he played.
Right.
They had Cam Chancellor, Richard Sherman. They had all those guys.
I agree.
Bobby Wagner.
So who was? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Besides the Shador, what was the biggest surprise to you in this draft? Second biggest surprise.
Besides Shador, I think. See, it depends. Are you talking about the draft overall?
I say draft overall because it was just such a weird draft.
I mean, yeah, it was weird in itself. Like, and I'm not just saying it because the Panthers is my team, but look at the Panthers. The Panthers, we desperately need a defense, but we go wide receiver first round, which I'm not knocking the pick, but we go wide receiver first round instead of defense, which we desperately need.
We took our first pick. Cowboys will definitely win him.
I know. I mean, I'm good with that.
Yep.
Also, going back to Shador, you take Jalen Milroe and also Dylan Gabriel over him, and Jalen Milroe was so inconsistent in college.
I understand that window. The upside on Milroe, right? He has upside. Dylan Gabriel, that's a real suspect. You could make an argument for Jalen Milroe. Like, okay, for as bad as he was sometimes, he had some great moments in college.
But over Shador?
I'm just saying you can make an argument, right? Like, Shador, he can run. Okay, I'm going to use Jalen Milroe and Cam Ward, right? When you look at their style of play, similar. Just Cam Ward does it at a higher level.
But, so if you look at their styles of play a little different, because Cam Ward is not a run-first quarterback. Jalen Milroe is a run-first quarterback.
But he can run.
Yeah, he can.
Cam Ward can get out there and he
definitely can.
All right, so that's what I'm saying. The game is similar,
Jalen Milroe he's a running back playing receiver or playing quarterback.
He also doesn't have to come in and start.
That's true, because who did he go? He went to the Seahawks?
Seahawks.
Okay.
And he got
so he'll be playing behind Sam Darnold.
Yep.
So I think they'll implement a few packages for him. But they signed Sam Darnold to I think a 3-year deal. So
right.
he'll sit for a while, which I guess won't be bad to give him time to develop.
We say that injuries happen all the time in the NFL. So yeah.
That's true. And
most likely he will be able to sit.
So with the Browns, why do you think they picked 2 quarterbacks?
Man, look, I'm gonna keep it PG on here, but I feel like the Browns it was more of they wanted to do it the whole time, right?
Yeah.
But it was a lesson the NFL had to send to me, to Dion, and to the players. Like, now we run this.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But do you think one of them gets cut?
No. One might get traded, but not cut.
So which quarterback do you think they lose? Because they now have 5 quarterbacks on their roster. Obviously, we know Deshaun Watson probably ain't playing this year, but
Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett or Flacco go. They
got Kenny Pickett. They got I think they'll let go Kenny Pickett before Joe Flacco, because Joe Flacco, my guess is, as of right now, Joe Flacco is the starter. It's Joe Flacco's job to lose at this point.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to start Shador over him out the gate. They're definitely not going to start Kenny Pickett, because Kenny Pickett is going to be a backup quarterback in this league. And Dylan Gabriel, Dylan Gabriel, like I said, I don't know. I didn't see enough from Dylan Gabriel in college to say he's a starting quarterback in the NFL.
What does it mean if Shador outperforms everybody in training camp and he's the starter? Does that shine a light of the miss by everybody on him?
Yes, and I think the problem, I think I think Shador is going to have something to prove at this point, because he's like, all these teams passed up on me. Let me make them regret it.
Yeah.
And I do because I understand a lot of teams don't like his cockiness or however you want to put it. But at the end of the day, if you look at his numbers in college, his numbers don't lie. He's over 70% completion,
74%.
But I mean, you look at what Cam Ward said. You can kind of make an argument for what Cam, because he said, well, you threw a lot of check downs and a lot of screen passes. He said, if I did the same thing, he said, I have a 90% completion rate, which I'm like, okay. But I think I told you this the other day. Shador, his playing style reminds me of a Teddy Bridgewater. The reason I say that is because if you look at Teddy Bridgewater's game over the span of his career, he's been consistent. He's not going to throw any unnecessary passes, and he's not going to throw a lot of interceptions. He's going to take a sack, and he can move out of the pocket if he absolutely needs to, but he's not taking any unnecessary throws, which has not been bad because Teddy Bridgewater had huge upside before the injuries happened.
Yeah.
So that's kind of who I compare him to when it comes to kind of his playing style, because his arm is not the strongest. Teddy Bridgewater's arm wasn't the strongest, but he had great accuracy.
I'll give you another one, man. And this guy, RIP, Stephen McNair, man. His game reminds me, his ceiling to me is Stephen McNair.
Yeah, I think because
a pass first, but can run, but a great career.
The problem, I guess the only problem with the Browns is they don't have a very strong receiving core.
Right now. But, I mean, if he don't play this year, he's sick.
Yeah.
Come in next year. And they got pieces. They got Jerry Jeudy, right? They got
Jerry Jeudy
at tight end.
Yes.
Running back, Jerome Ford.
They got I know they picked up Quinshon Judkins. I know that.
They did, yeah.
Let's see.
I think they got Jerome Ford.
Do they still got Jerome Ford?
I know
you're right. They got Jerome Ford.
Jerome Ford.
They also got Dylan Sampson. They might put him.
They got pieces.
They might put him out. I can see them putting him at a slot because technically he is a running back, but he's a small running back and very fast. So I can see them moving him out to slot or even putting him in on screen packages or whatever. Like I said, they got Quinshon Judkins, so that's huge for them.
All right, let's switch gears a little bit because Shador did dominate this draft, right?
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about Jacksonville, man. How do they use Travis Hunter?
I think they're gonna use him. It's hard to say. I definitely think they're going to use him as corner, but I think they're going to have. I think they're going to have more. I think they're going to have a lot of packages for him at wide receiver. I think he's going to first year. I think he's going to see the field a lot on both sides of the ball.
Okay.
I don't know. Now the NFL is a different beast, so I don't know if he can handle it. But I do think they're going to. What do you think? What do you think his main primary position is going to be?
I think he'd be a corner. I think he'll be a corner.
Yeah.
I think I've been thinking about what you said draft night, right? About the return man.
Yes.
If he returns 1-2 punts or kickoffs for touchdown, I think the offensive thing goes away.
Oh yeah.
Play corner and play return man.
Yeah, I think the same thing because I think he's a better corner than he is a receiver.
And also, you think about the NFL, right? The NFL likes to put you in a box. Yes. You're a receiver. You're a corner. You're this. You're that. We don't know how to pay somebody who played multiple positions.
Exactly, because even though you look back in the day, you had a couple of players that played on both sides of the ball, but it was not consistent. Either you play one, especially if you play defense. You play defense, and then they have packages for them on offense, which ultimately keeps them off the field long term. Now,
go ahead.
Now I was gonna say if a receiver goes down, then I think that opens up more packages. If a receiver goes down for injury or whatever the case is, I think that changes. But I think out the gate, if most are healthy, I think he's going to be a corner.
Okay, because I'm like, how do you pay? Let's say he's a top 5 corner and he's a top 10 receiver in the league, right?
Yeah.
How do you pay that?
That's a great question.
You give him $50 million a year? No.
That's a great
question. The NFL's not going to look at Micah Parsons, right? Micah Parsons is kind of like the prototype.
Yeah.
He can play DN. He can play linebacker. He can play a little bit of like safety because he's got the speed.
Yeah.
When his first year, he played DN and linebacker. Now, what does he play? One position majority. Because it's easier to pay one position than pay multiple.
That's true, because and using that same example, wide receivers are getting paid more than corners.
Correct. They like $30 million a year, 35.
Yes.
Yep.
So I think that'll play a factor too. This draft was very, very defense heavy, especially defensive line, edge, and outside linebackers.
Who you think? What team you think did the best as far as building their defense in this draft?
Obviously, the Eagles always build their defense.
They did great.
The Eagles did wonderful. I don't know, because it was a lot of players, a lot of good players went to a lot of different teams, and a lot of cause like Browns, they got Mason Graham.
They did
first round. That was a great pick. Then you got Atlanta. Atlanta did great, I think.
They did. I mean, if they can't get no sacks now, it's a problem.
Yes.
You got to throw a star in there too, man. Ooh. I feel like Jerry did great. Far as, if health is not an issue, we got a first round corner.
Yes, in the second round. Yes,
in the second round.
Yeah,
I feel like he really did.
I think he definitely would have went first round if it wasn't for injuries.
Yes,
because he got injured a few times in college. So if it wasn't for that, he's definitely a first round caliber corner, especially if he can stay healthy.
Then we got the DN.
Yes.
Let's talk about the guy from Marshall, man. How did he fall so far?
I don't know. I don't know if it's because he's from Marshall. He's not from one of the power schools. That's the only thing I can think of.
It was just, I'm watching. I'm like, I hope the Cowboys get him. Like, he is falling. We know he got talent. What's going on?
Because he went to the Baltimore Ravens, right?
Yes.
So he did also have some allegations in college that could have played a role. Okay. Because if you look at, another surprise of the draft, somebody who didn't get drafted at all was Isaiah Bond.
That is a good point. I wasn't even thinking about it. That's a real good point.
And so they was, if I'm not mistaken, midway through the season, they was talking about he was a first or second round pick.
Did he get picked up by anybody?
He has not gotten picked up yet.
I mean, hey, Jerry, let me talk to you, Jerry. Let me talk to Jerry Jones real quick. We've been known to go out there and get a few felons. Just saying.
I think didn't he have sexual assault allegations?
Oh yeah, no, I won't touch that.
So I think that may have played a role in his, because the allegations came out right before, like right around the combine time.
Happened a few years ago in the draft. Offensive lineman. He was supposed to be a top 2.
Yes.
He was from LSU.
Yes.
And the allegations hit like 2 days before the draft.
Yep.
And then he ended up dropping.
Yep.
Was it Leo Collins or something like that? Cowboys ended up drafting.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
But yeah, this draft was very, very defensive heavy.
I got the draft pulled up, man. One of the biggest shockers to me, I kept saying this the other night, man. Tyler Warren, man. Him not being the first tight end off the board.
Yeah.
It was teams that needed tight end that didn't go tight end.
Yeah, I was surprised the Bears took Colston Loveland over him. Now, Colston Loveland, now don't get me wrong, Colston Loveland is a great tight end. He was a great tight end for Michigan. But I think Tyler Warren was hands down the best tight end in this draft.
I agree.
Because you could put him at tight end, you could line him up at fullback to block, like a lot of these teams are starting to do with their tight ends. He can catch the ball. You can spread him out a little bit because he's not ridiculously fast, but I think he's fast for a tight end.
I got another question. All right. Do you think Cincinnati sent a message to Trey Hendricks by drafting an edge?
I think so.
Okay.
But if you think about it, if you look at these edges, you're playing sometimes you're moving them from from defensive end to outside linebacker, depending on their speed, and you're also changing them out a lot with these different packages.
That's true.
So I think that could have played a role too.
Okay.
Because if you think about it, if you take an edge, you can have technically 4 edges on the team because you have one on each side. And then if their speed is fast enough, you can move them to linebacker, or you flip flop them on different packages depending on how fast they are, what their specialty is.
How do you feel the Panthers did in our draft?
I think the Panthers actually had a really good draft. And the reason I say that, obviously, like I said, first round pick, I was hoping to go defense first round, but I like the first round pick because that gives Bryce Young another weapon. And when I say another weapon, because we still got Xavier Legette. I do think we could have also went tight end because we don't have we lost one of our tight ends. We still got Tommy Tremble, which wasn't not too bad. He had a decent season last year, but I think we could have we did lose Ian Thomas, so we are down on tight end. We got Jimmy Horn Jr., which I think is going to be a good return man.
All
right. We got ETN, which
good pick. I mean, you got running backs, so see, like, why are you drafting running back? That's what you're thinking, right?
That's what I'm thinking. But you could put him in on different packages because if you look at because we got Chuba Hubbard who's going to be the starter, you got Rico Dowdle who's going to be the backup, but every year one of your running backs is going to get hurt. So because Jonathan Brooks is out for the whole season, so he's kind of out the picture. So you put Trevor Etienne in there, and then you could also throw him in. You could throw him and Jimmy Horn in on special teams, which I think could be good. We did pick up tight end. We picked up Mitchell Evans. I do like a couple of defensive picks we got. We got Presley Yu. I can't say his last name. We got him. I think he's a great edge for us. We also got Cam Jackson, and we got Nick Scowerton. So, and we got old boy from Ohio State too, which I think was a great pickup late. The safety from Lathan Ransom.
Yeah,
I think he was a great pickup late because we got him in one of the late rounds. So I think he was a pretty good pickup to pick up late.
Okay, I think one of the better pickups to me that y'all got was the first round pick. Reason being the wide receiver, because I'm saying that because I feel like it took away all the excuses from Bryce Young.
Oh yeah,
he has to produce this year.
Yeah, he has no choice because you have an athlete in Xavier Legette who's fast and he can go get the ball.
Yep. And
then you have McMillan who's 6'4", 6'5", and I mean you just throw the ball up. He's going to win the jump ball.
I agree, man.
And then you still have Adam Thielen, and then like I said, you just got Jimmy Horn Jr. And we still got Jalen Coker who had spurts last year. So he started to have a few spurts last year throughout the season, and then we picked up Jalen Moore again. So I think we're gonna. I like our draft. I definitely be interesting to see how good we do. I actually thought we were going to pick up a quarterback late, just to back because we got Andy Dalton as a backup now. We keep signing Andy Dalton these 1 year, 2 year contracts. Andy Dalton doesn't have much time left.
Nah, man.
So if Bryce Young go down, you have no choice but to throw Andy Dalton in there. I mean, we got Jack Plummer, but I don't know.
As the Rams went, I thought y'all was going to draft Shador, though. I really did. I said, well, if Bryce doesn't do well this year, you have a young quarterback that you can put right back in there.
But the reason they didn't do that because they're banking on Bryce Young.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Y'all are. Y'all really are.
They're banking on Bryce Young. So how do you think your team did? How do you think the Cowboys did?
I think it reminded me of a few years ago, right? Before we got Zeke, right? We drafted O-line first round for like 3 drafts in a row.
Yeah.
I think we're getting back to that form. We took the best guard, in my opinion, in this draft. Because eventually, I'm going to say 2 years from now, if we go O-line next year, we're going to get back to pounding the ball with running back. Yeah. If you think about it, before Zeke, running backs were devalued.
Oh, yeah, because
he came back. We drafted Zeke, and running backs got paid again.
Yeah, if you look at the Cowboys historically, the Cowboys have made some okay running backs look like Pro Bowl running backs strictly because of the line.
One thing I wish we could do better is draft D-line, man. We have a hard time drafting D-line.
That's true.
So I feel like we got great linebackers that can potentially show up. With Overshawn being hurt right now, having another corner that can step in and start with Trayvon Diggs being down, I feel like at the beginning of the season, it's going to be a test. But I'm going to say by week 6, we should be fully healthy, and we should be able to make a run. It's not draft related, but we need to pay Michael Parsons. Pay that man.
I mean, I think they're not going to have a choice but to pay him.
If you weren't going to pay him, trading him would have been a better option.
Yes. But I think they're gonna, like I said, I don't think they're gonna have a choice but to pay him because you can't afford to lose him.
Yes, I agree.
So I think they will pay him.
I think that the pieces we got on defense, the linebackers, we drafted D tackle late, but he's more of a run. We need to stop the run, so we got 2 run stopping defensive tackles. Which I think will help. Yep.
So who do you if you had to pick a team that you say won the draft, who would that be?
Only because I'm looking at what they can do, what the pieces they got. The 2 teams that stand out to me would be the Giants, and because of their offseason and the draft, I'm gonna say the Raiders. Because if you look at the Giants now, like a quarterback guy look left and right.
Yes.
I mean,
because because they got Malik Neighbors.
I'm talking about as far as on defense.
Oh yeah. Because you got
Abdul Carter on one side,
and Brian Burns.
Yes.
So that's going to be because they're essentially almost the same type of player.
Yeah,
they're both speed edges. So that's going to be hell to pay for a lot of teams. And then their offense is not too bad because if you look at their offense, they got obviously like I said, like we talked about, they got Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, who is going to be they may not come out and give you 300-400 yards a game, but they're going to be consistent.
I mean, Malik Neighbors going to be happy because Jameis will throw the ball regardless.
Exactly.
And Malik Neighbors give the ball.
They picked up who did they pick up at running back?
We talked about this the other day. I forgot the top of my head.
Let me see. They got Cam Scatterbo.
Yeah, I know Scatterbo fan.
But they also they picked up they got another running back. I know they had Singletary last year. Okay, they still got Singletary. They got Tyrone Tracy too.
Tyrone Tracy, yeah. He did good as the season went.
Yep, and wide receiver, they got Malik Neighbors. They got Darius Slayton.
Don't forget about Jalen Hyde, though. Jalen Hyde came on. He played pretty well.
Yes. So I think if they could put the pieces together or use their pieces right, and if they can play consistent, because the offense is just going to have to play consistent. I think the defense is going to be able to hold their own. The only thing with the defense, if you look at their secondary is
suspect.
I guess a little questionable. But their front seven is ready.
Yep. Let's jump over to the Raiders, right? When you give Geno a run game,
yes,
Geno has proven to play very well.
Yes.
They got a good tight end.
Yep.
They got good receivers.
Yep.
And then you give them a run game.
I think they're going to be pretty good because you still got – because obviously you got Geno. You got Ashton Genty. Behind Genty, you got Raheem Mostert.
Yep.
So I think that's going to be that's going to allow them to not rely so heavily on Ashton Genty because he can't carry the ball 30 times a game for 17 games in a row. You got Jacoby Myers. You got Brock Bowers. And like I said, you got Geno. So I think they're going to be and their defense is already pretty decent. So I think they're going to be a pretty decent team this year.
What two teams do you think won the draft?
I think, and not just because of their first pick. I think the Titans did pretty good because they was able to get. Obviously, they got Cam Ward. They was also able to get Kevin Winston, who I think is a great safety.
Yeah.
And who else? I think the Ravens had a pretty good draft too.
Let's talk about it. If the team that went in need first round, they knew what they needed and they got them. They got Malachi Sparks, and going into this draft, right? I'm gonna say 2 months ago, I thought he could go higher in this draft.
Who?
Malachi Sparks.
I did too.
Sparks.
I definitely
because I was like, the Cowboys always need a safety, right? And we should get them. I was like, that was a good one.
But they was able to get Malachi Sparks and Mike Green.
And yes.
So I think they had a great they had a great draft. And they also got LeJontay Wester. That's gonna be another weapon because he's fast. That's gonna be another weapon for Lamar Jackson.
Man, Lamar Jackson got all the weapons he needs, man. I don't want to hear nothing else about
it. Exactly.
I mean, all he needs to do is run the ball. Yep. Stop trying to throw 500 yards.
Do you think one more, Shiloh. He went to the Bucks.
Yeah, he did, undrafted.
And do you think he's going to stay with the team? Or do you think he's going to make the team?
I think he'll make the team. I mean, we talked about it. You said if he is a nickel or he is a safety, I think he'll make the team. He can't cover the safest life, in my opinion. But he can catch an interception and he can hit.
Oh, yeah. So you think they'll have him at nickel, strong safety, somewhere around there? Yep. I guess because he's not big enough to move to outside linebacker, but the way you got a lot of safeties moving to outside linebacker because they're not. Because I think the role or the position of outside linebacker is changing because you're going from a traditional linebacker to more of a bigger safety, in my opinion, because you're essentially putting a safety. Because if you look at most of the outside linebackers in the league, I ain't gonna say all of them, most of them can play safety or nickel. Yeah, because of their speed. Because they're not the best cover guys, but they're fast enough to cover your tight end.
Correct. Yeah.
So if you had to, obviously. So I know you asked me this question about who was the biggest surprise. Obviously, we know it was Shador. After Shador, do you agree with Isaiah Bond being the biggest surprise of not being picked?
Not being picked? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or Tyler Warren not being picked as the first tight end. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's good. I think it's
the guy from Michigan State. I mean, not Michigan State. Marshall dropping so far.
Yes. Another thing, I was looking. I don't know if you've seen what Cam Ward said. I know I texted you earlier. I said Cam Ward is a marketing genius. I don't know if you see what he said.
What he said?
They asked him who his favorite artist was.
Yeah.
His favorite artist, singer, rapper. And guess who he said?
What he say, man?
Morgan Wallen.
Hey, man, smart man.
Because Morgan Wallen's from Nashville, where he's going. I'm like, he's a marketing genius.
I mean, after going to Nashville, I will say this. I don't know if Cam Ward fit that city, but he definitely gonna bring some to the city.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think to the top. I'm hoping he's gonna bring that Steve McNair type feel back to the Titans. I think obviously he's not gonna go out there year one or year two and completely change the organization. I think it's gonna take time.
You don't know, Tonyo.
But I think he has. If the defense can step up, I think he has a shot of at least doing decent.
Think about it, man. He may pull a Jaden Daniels out there.
He could.
Yeah.
I mean, he has the talent. His crew has to step up with him.
That's Tony Pollard. You know what I'm saying? He got some pieces. Calvin Ridley. He got some pieces, man.
I like Calvin Ridley.
Tony Pollard proving he can run the ball. When think about that read option.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. But I don't know if they're gonna. My thing is, I don't know if they're gonna run a read option with him because he's not a. I wouldn't.
I would.
I wouldn't. I don't know if I would label him I'm trying to think. I don't know if I would label him as a scrambling quarterback rather than a because if you look at him, like for instance, look at him and Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is looking to run the ball first. I think Cam Ward is looking to pass first and then run.
That plays in his favor, though.
Oh yeah, it does.
Read option.
It does.
They're gonna think he's gonna hand the ball off, then he take off. How many times did we talk about it in college? It looked like he was out there jogging.
Yeah, I mean, because he definitely has. I think he definitely has a skill set to do it. He has a skill. Yeah. He has. I think he has. He's not as fast as Lamar Jackson, but I think he has a skill set to play like Lamar Jackson does because he's fast. He can throw the ball. He can throw it off the run. He can throw it in the pocket. I think he'd rather throw it from the pocket, but he could throw it on the run also, so he could throw it outside the pocket. So I think that's going to play in his favor a lot.
What team do you think dropped the ball the most in this draft? What two? I'm gonna give you two. What two teams?
I'm gonna say the Browns for one.
All right.
I don't know what other team. Hold on, let me look through.
I can name my two off the top of my head.
Oh, go ahead.
For one reason. The Saints and the Jets.
I agree. Because you need a quarterback.
Draft your quarterback of the future in this draft, and both teams chose not to do it.
Yes, because the Jets they got Justin Fields, so unless it's either two things they plan on doing. Either they plan on Justin Fields being their future, or they're waiting for next year.
Correct.
And you have a lot of analysts saying the quarterback class is stronger next year than it is this year. I don't know if I agree with that, but we're going to see next year. So that's the only thing I could. And the Saints obviously are planning on the Louisville quarterback being their man because they drafted him first pick of the second round.
And you've seen them highlights from the combine. Stop.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is you don't pick that guy that high if you don't have plans on him being your future.
That's true.
Because David Carr is out this year, more than likely. So he's going to come in and he's going to start probably unless he play. My thing, he had a decent college. He had a decent college career, but if you look at some of the throws he made in college and then some of the throws he made in the combine, I don't see how you choose him over some of these other guys.
How do you feel about the Steelers getting Will Howard?
I don't think Will Howard is a great quarterback.
Okay.
So who's their starting quarterback?
Probably Will Howard.
Because they
over for Aaron Rodgers.
You think Aaron Rodgers?
That's what the owner said.
I think they're going to have to pick up Aaron Rodgers because it's definitely not going to be. I don't think Will Howard is good enough to start in the NFL.
Yeah, they got Mason Rudolph back, and they got Will Howard.
I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong, but I don't think Will Howard is. I mean, I guess you give him a Jeremiah Smith type receiver because he got George Pickens and DK Metcalf who's going to go get the ball. So they might make him look good.
Can't go wrong with them two receivers, bro.
That's what I'm saying. They might make him look good. Jeremiah Smith made Will Howard look better than what he was, and Ibuka.
Okay, I was about to throw it in there. You said Ibuka first.
Judkins and Henderson. They made Will Howard look a lot better than what he was than what he actually was.
Yes, that's true.
So it'll be interesting. I think they may end up going out to get Aaron Rodgers. Because obviously you're not paying Mason Rudolph a lot of money. Will Howard's going to be on a rookie deal, so you're not paying him a ton of money. And then the third string is Skylar Thompson. So I think they're going to go out and get a quarterback. Is it good? Okay. If it's not Aaron Rodgers, I think it's somebody else because I don't think with the receivers you have, I don't think you're going to go out and start Mason Rudolph or Will Howard.
You know what? If I were them, I would trade for Jameis.
That wouldn't be a bad pick actually.
The receivers they got. I go get James.
That actually wouldn't be a bad pickup because James Winston will go out there and get you 400 or 500 yards a game. He might throw 3 or 4 interceptions, but he will get you the yards because he's going to throw the ball. So I think because even that's the thing when he played with the Bucs. It's like when the Panthers played the Bucs, it's like it's at times you love playing the Bucs and at times you hate playing the Bucs. When he's on, he's on. When he's off, he might throw 3 interceptions a game, but when he's on, like he could be a great quarterback.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think, like you said, I think this was a very interesting draft. A lot of things went that nobody really expected.
Yeah.
Like I said, for one was Shador, but we already talked about that. I think that has something to do with Dion. But at the end of the day, you can't take the man's talent away. Like he played good. He played good in college. I don't care what you think about him, and whether you don't like his cockiness, whether you don't like the way, I don't know if you didn't like the way he interviewed. I don't know what it was. Maybe there was some stuff behind the scenes that we didn't know about.
Yeah.
But for one, he played, because you got a lot of people saying he's not that good of a quarterback, but he had a 74% completion rating. You can't, with 4,000 yards, you can't take that away from him.
He had winning seasons everywhere he went with no O-line.
Yes. Yeah, last year he had no O-line and had a winning season. Like that's like I said, there's certain things you can't take away from him, no matter how much you don't like him. It's just stuff you can't deny.
Yep.
But we definitely looking forward to coming back once the season starts to kind of give an update, to see if the draft picks we thought was good, if they actually live up to what they are, and also who's the biggest letdown of the draft.
Yes.
It's going to be interesting to see who that is, to see who doesn't live up to their full potential.
I agree.
But as we always say, before we get off every podcast, this is more than a podcast. We're handing out crowns, and this podcast, I think we should give a crown. We can give we can give 2 of them this podcast. We can give one to Cam Ward. We can give the other one to Shador, since the NFL kind of,
Hey, listen, man, I gave one to Shador. I'm rooting for Shador, and I feel like, man, prove all the haters and doubters wrong.
Yeah. So this podcast, we're giving out 2, Cam Ward and Shador.
Yes, sir.
All right, and once again, this is more than a podcast. We handing out crowns.
Hand them out.
Who the lover, who the hate? Who the realest in my circle? Who the one who be the snakes? Who gon' fold up under pressure? Who gon' understand the stakes? Who gon' wait to get they food to try to take from off my plate? Who the love? Who gon' understand I'm hurt? Who gon' love me unconditionally and try and make it work? Who gon' party once I'm gone and shed a tear once I'm in dirt? I ain't asking for too much, I'm